So he would feed us manna every day. So he said, look, on the prep day, right, the day before the Shabbat, make sure you gather twice as much food because I'm not going to have any on the Sabbath. So make sure you gather twice as much food, right? And cook it and bake it and do whatever you got to do the day before. Read.
And oil that will ye boil, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
Absolutely. So in today's time, right, what we would do this like Thursday night, right? That's the day before the Sabbath. A lot of people think it's Friday morning. It's Thursday night, actually, right? So Thursday, when you get off work, yeah, that's the beginning of your prep day. You should go to the grocery store, more than likely, right? Go to the grocery store, get all your goods. You know what I'm saying? Have your wife probably Friday morning prepare. You know what I'm saying? Prepare for the Sabbath. She might cook, prepare what she's going to cook for that, later on that day when you get off work. If you work Fridays, you know what I'm saying? Let's say you work a 9 to 5. You get off at about 5. You get home at 6. So your wife already preparing that. But in addition to what she's preparing for y'all to eat that night, she's also preparing the Sabbath. You see what I'm saying? So you ain't got to worry about rushing and going to the grocery store. Because in Israel, right? If we was in Israel during this time, everything would be closed. So you be ass out of luck. This is why the Lord gave us a prep day. Because in Israel, everything's shut down. Mm-hmm. Ain't no grocery stores open. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no restaurants. Ain't no food trucks. Ain't nobody selling nothing on the corner. You know what I'm saying? All that came to cease because we follow what the Lord said, right? But watch this. Watch stiff-head, hard-headed Israel. Watch this. Read.
They laid it up till the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein.
Right. So they cooked like Friday, right before the sun went down, you know what I'm saying? And they had leftovers and they had it out and it was cool. Like the Lord said, right? Read.
And Moses said, eat that today, for today is the Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field.
Absolutely. Eat what you're going to eat today because you're not going to find any food in the field today. You see what I'm saying? So today, that would be equivalent to us basically saying, look, go ahead and gather what you need on the prep day because the grocery store will not be open on the Shabbat. Okay? The restaurant will not be open on the Shabbat. Imagine that. Right? I wish it was like that. That would be beautiful, right? Like everything, you know how it look on Christmas? It's just shut down. That's how the Shabbat's supposed to look. Dry. COVID-19 got everything dry. That's how the Shabbat's supposed to be looking. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to be looking on the Shabbat, right? Keep reading up.
6 days ye shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, it is there should be none.
Read.
And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day to gather, and they found none.
See, man, Israel's so hard-headed. He told them, look, he gave them simple instructions. He said, listen, I gave you a simple instruction. I told you to prep, because the Lord do everything in decency and order, right? He said, prep accordingly, right? Nevertheless, we always got a hard-headed, stiff-necked Israelite, right? He was like, the hell with that. I'm going to go try to find me some bread, and I'm going to go try to find me some food on the Shabbat, right? And it was none there, right, Mosh? It was none there, right? Watch what the Lord said.
And the Lord said unto Moses, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments?
In the word of my brother Thaddeus, how long you simple ones, right? The Lord like, how long do y'all got to be simple? I gave you a very simple instruction. Y'all can't follow that? I gave you a prep day. Nevertheless, y'all still want to go out and disobey my commands, right? Read.
See for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath. Therefore, he given you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days.
So he gave you food twice as much on that day. So you gather as much as you need for that day and lay it up and have your rib or somebody cook it and get it right. So you know what I'm saying? When that Sabbath hit, you Gucci. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? You got more than enough leftovers. That's what the Lord said. Keep reading.
Stay ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day.
See, absolutely. See, in the ancient world, we wasn't leaving our borders. You know what I'm saying? We stayed within our borders. We wasn't going out into the town. We wasn't going out trying to, to the grocery store. We wasn't going to hit clubs. None of that. We stayed within our borders, in our regions, within our gates. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was. You see what I'm saying? In the ancient world. But nevertheless, today's time, right? What's applicable for us? So in today's time, if you're not going out to do the work, stay in the house. That's what the Lord said. If you're not going to go out and go do the works and be like Christ, stay at home. What's out there for you? Nothing but trouble, madness, right? Stay home. This is what the Lord was saying, right? So let's drop that. Let's go to Exodus 31. Exodus 31, right? So, kid, can we cook on the Sabbath? Absolutely not, right? You see that? We got to prepare what? Absolutely. The day before. It's called the prep day. You prepare the day before, which is the prep day. Exodus 31 and 12. From the top. Read it. Read it loud, Mosh.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak you also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths.
My what?
Sabbaths.
Plural, right? My Sabbaths. Let you know is more than just a weekly Sabbath, all right? Y'all see that, right? I'm going to go ahead and run them down to y'all. Make sure y'all write them down, brothers. Okay? Make sure y'all write them down. We got the weekly Sabbath, right? Weekly Sabbath. We got the new moon, which is a Sabbath we're going to be keeping tonight, right? Got the new moon. We got Passover, right? The first day and the last day. That's a Sabbath, right? We got Pentecost. That's a Sabbath. We got blowing of the trumpets. That's a Sabbath, right? We got Day of Atonement. That's a Sabbath. We got Feast of Tabernacles. The first and the 8th day. Those are Sabbaths, right? And we got Feast of Dedication. The first and the 8th day. Those are Sabbaths, right? So those are all the Sabbaths and Shabbats that you have to keep throughout the year, okay? We're gonna go through them in the spirit, man. Make sure y'all write those down. Very, very important. For the top, Mosh, read it again.
Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
See, it's a sign, it's a gesture. This is why the Lord set aside this day. It's a sign and a token of his love and a gesture and expression that he's given for us to build with him. He said, look, 6 days and all the rest of these days, you can do your own thing, but look, set aside this day for me. This is a sign and a gesture and a token of your love. This is an opportunity for you to get closer to me. That's what that's going into the aspect of. The Lord, in the spiritual sense, saying, look, on the Shabbats, let's get closer. Let's get more acquainted. Get into my scriptures. Talk to me. Pray. Praise me. You see what I'm saying? Go out and do the works, because this is how you get closer to the Heavenly Father. That's why he set aside these days in particular as a sign, right? A sign to pretty much give your token of love to the Father. Keep reading.
That he may know that I am the Lord that do sanctify you. You shall keep the Sabbath thereof, for it is a holy unto you. Everyone that defileth.
Everyone what?
That defileth.
Emphasize that. Everyone that what?
Defileth shall surely be put to death.
Thus said the Lord, man. If you want to go against the charge, because look, y'all being Israelites, y'all already on a winning team, okay? Just by nature, you're already on a winning team. But the cool thing about the Most High is he's saying, look, if you don't want to be a God, because I'm setting y'all up to be gods. If you don't want to be God, then I'm going to cut you off this team. You know about that being a football player, right? If you get cut, but the only thing about this team, when you get cut, you die. You don't make the team, you die. You know what I'm saying? So look, either you want to be godly, be like me, right? Or you die. You know what I'm saying? That's real simple. You know what I'm saying? The Lord, like, look, I'm giving y'all instructions on how to be gods, how to govern and rule the whole earth. But if you don't want to do that, then I got to get rid of you, man. It's that simple, right? Read.
For whosoever doth any work therein, that soul should be cut off from among his people.
Thus said the Lord, man. I didn't say it. I didn't write this, right? Father said it, right? Read.
6 days may work be done, but in the 7th is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death.
You notice how the Lord keep repeating himself? Because he know Israel hard-headed. You got to tell them like 100 times for them to get it. So he did that. He kept repeating himself. He's like, look, I'm telling you how serious this is. It's not a game. And look, ultimately, the Lord doesn't need no damn Sabbath, right? The Lord don't need no Sabbath. Ultimately, the Sabbath is for us. He set aside this time for us to be refreshed and to give a token of expression to the Heavenly Father. You know what I'm saying? This is really for us. It's not for him. The Father don't need no rest. He don't need to be refreshed. He did it for us. He was thinking for us. He was thinking proactively. I know my children, you know what I'm saying? I know what they're going to need. You know what I'm saying? So this is why he gave this day for us to have that love and that expression to the Heavenly Father. Read verse 16.
Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generation for a perpetual covenant.
For a what?
Perpetual covenant.
What does that word mean? Anybody? What? Everlasting, right? Perpetual means forever. So as long as we generating, we got to keep the Shabbat, right? That's what the Lord said. So don't never let nobody tell you nothing stupid like that. Oh, you ain't got to keep the Shabbat no more. You know what I mean? Christ died. The Lord said in the Torah, this is a perpetual covenant in Moses' generation and generations to come, right? Generations to come, man. So we happen to be one of those generations to come. That's it on that, right? So the Lord said it's a token forever, man. It's an everlasting covenant that we got to keep, man. There's no way around it, right? So let's go ahead and get an example of somebody breaking that Shabbat, man. Let's see what happens to them, man. Let's get Numbers. Let's get the book of Numbers, chapter 28. Or 15 verse 32. Numbers 15, 32.
Numbers chapter 15, verse 32.
Read.
And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day.
So look. Now, Numbers is several years later. You know what I'm saying? This is several years later. They scattered in the wilderness about 40 years. He gave the commission in Exodus, right? And he repeated himself like 100 times. Now we're in Numbers, right? And he repeating himself again. So they found somebody gathering sticks, doing his own thing, working on the Shabbat. Watch this.
And they that found him gathered sticks, brought him unto Moses and Aaron, and unto all the congregation. And they put him inward, because it was not declared what should be done to
This
him.
is the first time, somebody actually was bold enough to break the Sabbath, right? So they hemmed him up. They was like, hey, smash them sticks, throw them sticks down. Hey, hem him up. Let's take him to Moses. Let's see what we got to do. Take him to our leaders, Moses and Aaron. Let's see what we got to do, right? Watch this.
And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death.
Emphasize that.
The man shall surely be put to
The
death.
Lord said, kill him. This is how the Most High get down. He's not playing. Look, if you don't want to be on this team, kill him. You don't want to be a God, cut him. Chip him, right? Read.
All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp.
Read.
And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died.
And he what?
Died.
He died. Read.
As the Lord commanded Moses.
See how the Lord get down? You don't want to be a part of this team, get rid of him. Okay, bye. Right? So y'all see that, right? So y'all see how important it is for the Heavenly Father, right? He set aside these days. Please don't play with him, y'all. I'm telling y'all. I always love to use the Ratazan story. He had a phenomenal parent job. Nevertheless, they didn't want to give him his Sabbath. What did he do? He walked away from that job because he understands I'm going to get redeemed with my treasures in the kingdom. Right? I'm going to get redeemed with my treasures in the kingdom. The Lord going to test your faith. They want to see, are you fool's gold or are you real gold? It was a hard time, huh?
Yeah, it was hard, man. I think that was probably like some of the hardest days of probably my young adult life, because the Lord always going to provide, but you got to figure, when a brother quit his job, it ain't like a brother, you quit your job, but you put in that 3-day notice because you got a new job. You've been looking for a job and you got one, then you quit. It ain't like that was, brother just had to quit, bills and everything. So, but the Most High made a way, and all praises. I wouldn't go back and change my decision for nothing.
All praise to the Most High, man. That's what you want to do, man. When you put in a precarious situation, you always choose God, all right? Always choose the Most High. You'll get it back. I promise you. You'll get it back. You might not get it back when you want to, but you will get it back. Trust me. The Lord cannot lie. It's impossible. All right? So let's get Exodus 35, verse 1. Exodus 35, verse 1.
35, verse 1.
Read down to verse 3.
And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, these are the words which the Lord hath commanded, that ye shall do to them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you an holy day.
What is holy, Calvert? Set apart, right? So this is different, right? So you got 6 days, which are like normal days, right? But this day is special. This is set apart. Read.
A Sabbath of rest to the Lord.
Cease from your work, okay? Cease from your own thing on this day. Read.
Whosoever doth work therein, shall be put to death.
Why would you want to play with the Abba? Like, you just seen what he did, right? Don't play with him. Like, I don't want to play with him. Like, I'm already scared. When I be hearing earthquakes, I be like, damn, is this over? I'm like, I'm about to die.
You felt that one yesterday?
Nah, I just heard about it. You know what I'm saying?
We felt it.
I'm like, man, I just don't want to play with him. You know what I'm saying? Because I know his nature and his power. You know what I'm saying? Read verse 3.
You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations.
What is that talking about, kid?
Not cooking.
Not cooking, right? We already seen that earlier, right? But he keep repeating himself. Don't cook on the Shabbat. Okay? Don't cook on the Shabbat. You have a prep day to do that. You prepare accordingly. You prepare the day before, right? Thursday, sundown to Friday, sundown. You have that window to prepare, okay? That's what the Lord said, right? So let's go ahead and get another one, man. Another thing that defiled the Sabbath. Let's get Isaiah 58, verse 13. Let's get another one. I'm just going over the things, the regulations of the Sabbath, right? What we can and can't do, okay? Isaiah 58. And we're gonna go to that one last. Let's go to the Ten Commandments. Let's go to that. Exodus 20. Then we're gonna go to Isaiah. I want to go to the Ten Commandments. Touch on this. I like how Moses put it down right here. Exodus 20:8 and 8. Come.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 8.
Okay.
Remember the Sabbath day.
Why would the Lord say, remember the Sabbath day, kid? Come. He said, remember, you got to understand Moses, right? The nature of Moses. He wasn't like all the other prophets. He was a different type of prophet. See, Moses had the ability to see his generation, his past generation, and generations to come. He knew somewhere down the line that Constantine and them boys was going to change the Sabbath from the 7th day to the 1st day. This is why he said, remember the Sabbath day that the Lord gave you. Remember the Sabbath day that the Lord gave you. Because they tried to change it during the time of the Babylonians. They tried to change it, during the time of the Greco-Romans. You see what I'm saying? Constantine and them boys tried to change it from the 7th day to the 1st day of the week. This is why he said, remember the Sabbath day that the Most High gave you. Read.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
See, the Lord is so meticulous and he's so detailed. Look, he gave you details. He said, listen, this is why I wanted to bring this one out. He said, look, don't try to get slick. If you own a business and you off and you hiring your employees, no, they off too. Okay? Thus said the Lord, man. Your kids, don't be trying to have them do chores on no Shabbat. Okay? The Lord said they off too. Your animals, they off too. Everybody is off on this day. So if you are a business owner, right? Or you do some type of job where you hire people, the Lord said everybody's off. Even the heathens. Everybody get this day off, okay? Because they're gonna have to keep the laws in the kingdom anyways. So y'all might as well practice it right now. So if you're a business owner, don't try to get slick. Well, I'm off, me and my wife off, but my employees can still work. No. They get the day off too, okay? Because that's blood on your hands. They get the day off. Everybody gets the day off, okay? Read.
Verse 11. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
See, he sanctified, he made it different, right? And look, fun fact, this is how you know the fake Jews cannot be the Israelites, right? Because they own the whole damn world, right? They own everything, right? So, in some capacity, right? If they don't own it, they financed it, right? Now look, if the power that they have, everybody should be off on the Shabbat, right? Everybody should be off on the Shabbat, but nevertheless, they don't care. You see what I'm saying? They ain't pushing these laws like how we is. This is how you know they fake, man. They don't care. They put on a facade, man. They can shut up all the banks. They can shut down all the restaurants. They can shut down all the hotels because they have the power to do that on the Shabbat, but they're not going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Look at the government shutdown.
That's a great example.
See that?
They can do it if they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? They can have everybody keep the Shabbats and all the holy days if they want to. Very, very simple. With the influence and their media sorcery that they have, they can push on the people. But nevertheless, the Lord said that the earth is given into the hand of the what?
Wicked.
So we know they wicked as hell, man, and they're gonna do wickedly with it, right? So nevertheless, now let's get Isaiah. So, anybody trying to be slick, man, I just want to let y'all know, because you got brothers out here that's slick. You got brothers that, well, I kept the Sabbath, but you had people working, huh? No, you didn't. Moses covered everything. He said your kids is off. Don't try to make them do chores and none of that. Everybody chilling on that day. Isaiah 58, and let's get verse 13.
Isaiah chapter 58, verse 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thy own ways, nor finding thy own pleasure, nor speaking thy own words.
So look, the Lord said if you do that, you're gonna see a lot of success. Now, pleasure can mean a lot of things, but it's one thing I want to highlight in pleasures, right? Right. It's one thing I want to highlight in pleasures, right?
Bring it out.
We're gonna bring it out, right? Look, pleasures got several different definitions, but one in particular, when you look up the word pleasures, it's talking about sexual favors, right? Sex will defile the Sabbath, right? Look, you cannot have sex on the Shabbat, okay? I'm gonna prove it to you. Give me Sirach 25 and 21. Calvary, give me Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 2. You give me Sirach 25 and 21. Rata. Calvary, give me Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 2. I'm gonna show you how 25 and 20. I'm gonna show you how pleasure means sex, right? 7 and 2. I want this one first. I want Rata's first.
Sirach chapter 25, verse 20. As the climbing up a shade.
21.
Oh, excuse me.
25 and 21.
Sirach chapter 25, verse 21. Salakia. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure.
Desire her not for what?
Pleasure.
Pleasure for sex, sexual gratification, right? That's so it's letting you know what pleasure means, right? Desire her not for sexual gratification, right? So don't desire her for pleasures, because pleasures, right? Doing those type of pleasures defile the Sabbath. Read.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 2.
Loud.
And in my mother womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood.
So this is Solomon talking about I was in my mother's womb, 10 months, read.
10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of men, and the pleasure that came with sleep.
The what?
The pleasure that came with sleep.
The pleasure that came with sleep. When you sleep with your woman, right? The pleasure that came with sleeping with your woman. That's what that's going into, right? So we see you got to stand away from those pleasures on the Shabbat, okay? Those things defile the holy Shabbat, all right? I'm gonna prove it even more further, right? So y'all see that. So let's recap. Weekly Sabbath, right? We know we can't buy or sell. We know we're not supposed to be working. We know we're not supposed to be hiring nobody to work. We know we're not supposed to be cooking, okay? These are the regulations of the Shabbat, right? Anybody got a question? All right, so now let's move along, because there's other Sabbaths, right? That's the weekly Sabbath. Now look, all the other Sabbaths have the same regulations. The only difference thing about all the other Sabbaths is you are allowed to cook. Like this being a new moon, we are allowed to cook on this new moon. I'm gonna prove it to you. So first and foremost, I want to prove to you that the new moon is a Shabbat. Give me Amos 8 and 5. Let's get the book of Amos and let's read verse 5. 8, verse 5.
Amos chapter 8, verse 5, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn?
Tell me what?
That we may sell corn.
See, they like, when the moon gonna be gone, man, so we can go ahead and get back to this money, right? Read.
And the Sabbath.
What?
And the Sabbath.
So there you go. New moon is a Sabbath, okay? Y'all see that right there, right? Read.
That we may set forth wheat, making the ephod small, and the shekel great, and the phosphosing, the balance by deceit, falsifying.
Yeah, falsifying the balances by deceit. So we was going off at this time, you know what I'm saying? You see, Israel, we weren't in the right space. That's like now, me saying, "Watch it, damn man, when the new moon gonna be done so I can go back to work?" Like what? Bugged out. What? You want to go back to the plantation? You know what I'm saying? Like you bugged. This is the type of time we was on. Like they like, when the new moon gonna be done so I can go back to work? What? bro, when it extend the new moon, so I never go back to work. You know what I'm saying? Give me that everlasting Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? That's what we really we praying for, man. That eternal rest. But nevertheless, you see that, right? So the new moon is a Shabbat. It is a Sabbath, right? Let me prove to you that we can cook. Let's get Numbers 10 and 10. Numbers chapter 10, verse 10.
Numbers 10 and 10.
Come. So the only difference is with all the other Sabbaths, right? Is you are allowed to cook, but all the other regulations like buying and selling, you know what I'm saying, working, going out trying to do business, hiring people, now all that's out. All right, sex, that's out. You're defiling the Sabbath. Read.
Numbers chapter 10, verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness and in your solemn days and in the beginnings of your months.
So the beginning of our months. It's the beginning of our months, right? New moon. When you look this word up in the Hebrew, it literally means new moon, right? In the beginning of your new moons, read.
Ye shall blow with the trumpet.
So you set off the trumpet, you let everybody know, you know what I'm saying? Which we have one right now. You go ahead and set off the trumpet, right? Read.
Over your burnt offerings.
Over your burnt offering, that goes in the aspects of cooking, man. So you're allowed to cook on this day. Read.
And over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your God. I am the Lord your God.
Absolutely. It's in memory of the Heavenly Father. So look, we are allowed to cook, right? But look, I want to show you furthermore how sex defiled the Holy Shabbat. Let's go ahead and get 1 Samuel chapter 20. I mean, I'm bringing it out because you got brothers that believe you can have sex on the Shabbat. And I'm going to show you that's absolutely false. You are defiling the Holy Shabbat when you do that. 1 Samuel chapter 20, let's read verse 24.
1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 24. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat.
So you see that, right? They were eating meat, letting you know clearly, right? In the new moon, we are allowed to eat and cook, right? Read.
And the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty.
So, you know, he had his little hitters with him, you know what I'm saying? This is King Saul, he had his little group, so, you know what I mean? At the table, man, they about to feast, man, right? David wasn't there. They like, okay. Saul like, man, David ain't here. Watch what he said.
Verse 26, nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something has befallen him. He is not clean.
He is what?
He is not clean. Surely he is not clean.
So you see that, right? Saul thought David wasn't clean. Now, David wasn't not clean. He was cool. He was clean. He was hiding from Saul because Saul wanted to kill him. You know what I'm saying? So David was hiding in the field. But nevertheless, you see how Saul said the reason why he's not here because he's not clean, because being unclean makes, you know what I mean, defiles the holy Sabbath, right? And sex makes you unclean. Let's prove that. Leviticus 15 and 16. I'm just showing, I'm going into what defiles the Sabbath, so we don't do this. So we don't do these things, okay? These are the regulations of the Sabbath. Read that.
Leviticus chapter 15, verse 16. And if any man's seed of compilation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean. And be unclean
until what?
Until the evening.
So if you're doing it on the Sabbath, you're unclean until the evening. You just defile the holy Sabbath. You're allowed to have sex, man, but wait till the Sabbath is done.
Self-control.
Yeah, self-control, man. This is a part of being a God. Having self-control, man. You get one off, you can defile the Sabbath, man. Is that worth your life? Is that worth your salvation? I don't think so, right? You can just wait, and it's even better when you wait, right? So let it build up a little bit. It's all right. You get to it, right? Mm-hmm. So y'all see that, right? So let's drop that. Let's go to Leviticus 23. We're gonna go over these other Shabbats. We're gonna bring them all out so y'all can know them. Y'all got the precepts. Y'all know how to combat all these wicked spirits in Israel. It's a lot of them. Leviticus 23 and 4.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Gotta keep them in the proper seasons, right? When is Passover? What season is it in, fellas? What's the word? What's the Hebrew word? All praises, right? Read. In the springtime, right? Read.
Verse 5, and the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover.
Read.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
Read.
And the first day ye shall have an holy convocation.
So when we kept it, right, the first day was a holy convocation. It was a Sabbath, right? We was at the Airbnb, right? Y'all remember that, right? First day was a Sabbath. Read.
Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So you treat it like all the other Shabbats. The only difference is you are allowed to cook. We was cooking up that lamb, right? Read.
Mm-hmm. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. And the 7th day is an holy convocation.
And the first and the last days are Sabbath. Y'all see that, right? The first and the last day are Sabbath. You treat it like the Sabbath. The only difference is you are allowed to cook, okay? You are allowed to cook. It's not like the weekly Sabbath where you have to prepare for the prep day. You are allowed to cook. But all the other regulations stand. No cooking. No buying, no selling, no hiring people, no sex. You know what I'm saying? No getting money, none of that. No, none of those. Staying away from all those things, man, and keep it holy, right? For Pentecost, let's drop down to verse 16.
Verse 16. Even on the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord.
So you are allowed to cook, right? Pentecost, y'all see that, right? Clear cut, right? Now, Pentecost is how you calculate it. Just keep it real simple for y'all, right? So, in our case, I believe Passover ended on April 13th, right? April 13th. Remember, we kept Passover from April 6th to April 13th, right? So it ended on April 13th, sundown. So that next weekly Sabbath, which was on the 17th, is when you begin your Pentecost count. So I'm going to go ahead and do it real quick, right? We got to count 7 weeks plus a day. So I'm going to go to my calendar. Starting from the 17th, which is the weekly Sabbath coming in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So on the on the 6th at sundown. So on the June 6th sundown is when we will keep Pentecost. That's 50 days. Okay. June 6th sundown is when we will keep our Pentecost, right? June 6th. Where you want to have it at, right? So you don't know yet?
Pentecost?
Want to have it on the land or probably like a park? We'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
Hopefully,
I think we could do it on the park.
we could do it at a park.
Yeah.
Hopefully, most high willing, man, this COVID-19 thing is let up a little bit, so we have it. But nevertheless, that's a Sabbath, okay? That's another Sabbath. Same regulations apply, but we are allowed to cook, right? Let's go. Let's get to the next one. Trumpets. Let's go ahead and get verse 23.
Leviticus 23 and 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation.
Y'all see that, right? So look, the blowing of the trumpets is no different from all the other new moons. The only thing is the Lord gave this a name right here. That's all it is. It's just like all the other new moons. We're supposed to blow the trumpets on all the other new moons. But nevertheless, for this one, he called this one specifically blowing of the trumpets, right? Read verse 25.
Verse 25. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Same rules apply, right? Now let's get atonement. Let's drop down. Sake of time, read verse 28.
Verse 28. And ye shall do no work in the same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
So we seeking repentance from the Heavenly Father, Day of Atonement. This is a Sabbath too, right? Let's drop down to verse 32. It explains it.
Verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
Celebrate your what?
Your Sabbath.
See, so this is a different type of Sabbath right here, though, right? Day of Atonement, right? This is a different type of Sabbath. This is a Sabbath where we afflict our souls and we don't eat for a 24-hour period, roughly. You know what I'm saying? Approximately. From even to even, right? On the 9th day at even to the 10th day at evening, we will afflict our souls and we will fast, seeking repentance and atonement from the Heavenly Father. Right? So this is what we do for this one. So this is a special type of Sabbath. But nevertheless, all the other rules still apply. You know what I'm saying? No buying, no selling, no working, no none of those things. You know what I mean? No sex, none of that, right? Let's drop down to Tabernacles. Let's get 34.
Verse 34, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord.
Mhm.
On the first day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Absolutely. So same rules apply. We are allowed to cook, but the 1st and the 8th day are Shabbats. You see that? First day is the Sabbath, 8th day is the Sabbath, right? Clear cut right there, right? Let's get the last one. Let's get dedication. You got to get your pockets for this one, all right? Let's get First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 52. Let's start at verse 52. So y'all see all the Sabbaths we got, right? Y'all writing this down? All praise.
First Maccabees.
First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 52. Time.
First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 52. Now on the 5 and 20th day of the 9th month.
So on the 25th day of the month, on the 9th month, right? 2 months from Tabernacles, read.
Which is called the month Caslu
Caslu,
or
right?
Casliv.
So when you see Caslu or Casliv, right? However you want to pronounce it, Caslu, right? When you see the month of Caslu, you know that's the 9th month, right? This is when we keep the Feast of Dedication. Read.
In the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning.
Let's drop down. I don't want you to have to read. I don't have to. Let's get 59.
First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 59. Moreover, Judas and his brethren, with the whole congregation of Israel, ordained.
What?
Ordained.
Ordained. What does that mean, Calvert? We ordained something.
Let it be known.
This is submitting as a law, ecclesiastical law right here, right? Judas and the Israelites ordained this as a law in Israel. This is why you see Christ keeping it later. We're going to bring that out. It became a law of rededicating of the temple because the Antiochus and them boys destroyed our temple, right, during the time of the Greeks. And Judas Maccabees regained all the holy monuments and all the holy sacred things and rededicated the temple. So in honor of that, in memory of that, they ordained it as a feast that we must keep. Read.
The whole congregation of Israel ordained, that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days.
I see that, right? Read.
From the 5 and 20th day of the month Caslu, with mirth and gladness.
See? Clear cut right there, right? That we got to keep it. Now let's see how we observe it. Let's go to 2nd Maccabees. Let's flip over to 2nd Maccabees. It's going to give us details on how we keep it. 2nd Maccabees chapter 1, and let's read verse 18.
2nd Maccabees chapter 1, verse 18. Therefore, whereas we are now proposed to keep the purification of the temple upon the 5 and 20th day of the month Caslu, we thought it necessary to certify, you thereof, that ye also might keep it as the Feast of the Tabernacles.
What?
The Feast of the Tabernacles.
So you keep it the same way you keep the Feast of Tabernacles, right? Calvert, how do we keep the Feast of Tabernacles? Which days are the Sabbaths? First and 8th, right? First and 8th. That's right. You're right, but I just want you to be more detailed. The 1st and 8th day. So we keep the Feast of Dedication the same way, right? What day does the Feast of Dedication begin? Anybody? On the 25th day of the 9th month. All right, I want y'all to make sure y'all write that down. Write that down. Feast of Dedication, 25th day of the 9th month, okay? That's 2 months from Tabernacles, okay? Roughly about 2 months from Tabernacles, right? Okay, so now now y'all see that. Those are all the Sabbaths, right? Now I just want to prove to you and all these critics out here and all these dudes that misappropriate the scriptures, Christ was keeping it, and after Christ, his disciples was keeping it. So we're going to run through these precepts real quick, and then we're going to feast. All right, so let's go ahead and run through them. real quick. We're gonna run through them. Let's get Luke 4:16. Let's run through them. Luke 4:16. I just want to disprove this narrative that you can just defile Sabbaths. Y'all don't see that nowhere in the scriptures. Please show me. I've never read it. Right? Read that.
Luke chapter 4, verse 16. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read.
On the Sabbath day, y'all see that, right? Christ was getting busy. He was doing the works on the Sabbath, right? It was a custom of what he did all the time, right? Let's stay in Luke. Let's get chapter 2. Let's read verse 41.
Luke chapter 2 and verse 41. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover.
What?
Every year.
Every single year. This is why the Most High chose Joseph and Mary, because they was righteous people. Every year they went to partake in the feast of what?
At the feast of the Passover.
So they partook in the Passover.
You ain't got to keep Passover no more.
Yeah. It's crazy.
We under Christ now, but Christ kept it. Right?
I'm going to show y'all clearly after Christ
many
died.
times.
After Christ died, we still was keeping it. Read.
Verse 43. And when they had fulfilled the days as they returned, the child Yahushua tarried behind in Jerusalem.
Let's sit on that. So you see that, right? Read 42.
Verse 42. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast.
So he went at 12. When you read the rest of the story, he stayed back, man, getting busy with the top men of Israel. So we was keeping the feast. Y'all see that, right? Clearly Christ. And y'all familiar with the Last Supper, right? Last Supper, right? Did we not keep it? Do we need to get that?
Do we need to get that?
Y'all familiar with it, right? Let's go ahead and get it. Let's get it for him. Let's get Matthew. Y'all
we want y'all to, you know what they say in the Christian church, what communion is? Communion? Yeah. Right? The little, y'all was in the church, the little bread cracker and a little cup of grape juice. All right? That's bogus. They was keeping Passover.
Passover, man.
Going off. All the way off.
Let's go ahead and get Matthew 26 and 17.
What, they do that every first Sunday?
Yeah. Matthew chapter 26, and let's start at verse 17. Let's get to the point.
Matthew chapter 26, verse 17. And the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
See that, right? It's like, how do we want to prepare the Passover? Read.
And
drop down to verse 19.
Verse 19. And the disciples did as Yahushua had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. And when the even was come, he sat down with the 12. And as they did eat, he said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me.
No, they didn't eat at the Passover. Read that again.
As they did eat.
No, they didn't eat, bro.
As they did eat.
You see clearly right here, Yahushua ate of the Passover several different times, right? Drop down to verse 26.
Verse 26. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread.
The unleavened bread, read.
And blessed it and brake it and gave it to his disciples and said, Take, eat. This is my body.
So this is where they get the little communion from. But nevertheless, they was keeping unleavened bread, man. Clear cut, right? Let's stop this madness, Israel. Please.
Got to.
Stop this madness. Yahushua partook in the Passover, and so did his disciples afterwards. We're going to prove it in the spirit.
Stop being lazy, okay? All you brothers out there that's preaching this false narrative that you don't have to keep the holy days of the Lord, it's either two things that I see in you brothers that's teaching this bogus garbage. The first thing is, all you non-Masonics, you can't keep the feast because you never see a Masonic keeping the feast of the Lord.
They don't keep no laws.
They don't keep no laws because you can't, because you need to bring your animal sacrifices. So this is why they make excuse, we don't have to do it no more. Bogus. The brothers that, on the other hand, you say, well, we don't have to keep it no more because we're not in Jerusalem. And the reason why you say those lies, right? We could go in the scriptures and cut that up, which we have in many different videos on this channel. The reason why you make those lies is because you're lazy and you don't want to do the homework to calculate the feast days. Stop being lazy and saying we can't do it right and get discouraged. Everybody got different days and da. No, do what you got to do. Study to show yourself approved and keep these days of the Lord, man. Stop making excuses, man. Go study. The Most High called us to be scholars. You might make a mistake. Get it right. You know what I'm saying?
Hit our line, man. We'll talk to you. Watch will
Fine.
talk to you all night, man. We got to get it right, man, so we can get out of here. I don't know about y'all. I'm tired of being in Babylon. Lord ain't coming back till we get it right. Read verse 27.
Verse 27. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins.
And when you read the rest of this, he said he's not going to drink no more until we get back in the kingdom. So nevertheless, y'all see that, right? Y'all see Yahushua partaking in the Passover, right?
And that's cold too. Can you get that real quick? Drink no more until we get in the kingdom. Get that real quick. I think that's
I think that's more. I think that's in Luke.
yeah. If you could get that, because let me see. Yeah, it might be in Luke. Let me see. I'm gonna try to get it because I want to get that. And the reason why I want to get that.
No, it's the next verse. Read that.
What?
I'll read it. Verse 29. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.
So when you read this in context, what is it talking about? What is he telling you? He's telling you that he's not going to take part in this wine until what? We keeping these feast days in the kingdom. These days will be kept in the kingdom. That's why when you go to Isaiah 66, can I get that real quick? Isaiah 66 real quick. So all of you brothers that's saying we don't have to keep the feast days, and then all of a sudden we just gonna keep them in the kingdom. What are you talking about? The Most High, we gotta prepare ourselves for the kingdom, right?
Verse 22.
Yeah, Isaiah 66 and 22.
For as the new heaven and the new earth which I will make shall remain before me, said the Most High, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, said the Most High. And they shall go forth.
That's it. So it says from one new moon and from one Sabbath. What are we going to be doing in the kingdom? So how do you even fix your mind to even say that we don't have to do it right now? When the scriptures say to rehearse the righteous acts. It doesn't even make any sense to say the Most High, oh, that's all. I seen somebody, oh man, sisters, man. I seen a sister teaching the word. That's why the scriptures say, women, you got to be silent, okay? This is the reason why. Sister was teaching the word, and she literally had a breakdown talking about how we don't have to keep the
I seen that, yeah.
You seen that?
Yeah.
And she had a breakdown saying we don't have to keep the feast of the Lord no more if you keep them, you in sin. And you have brothers on there, that's right, sis, bring it out. Pooh butt Jakes. Man, you know all they really want is, the box. That's really what they want. Yeah, that's what they want. They want to, you weak, soft Jakes. What you Jake should have did was correct her. But then you say, okay, we ain't got to do it. And then she compared it to sin. But then we're going to be in the kingdom keeping it. So we're going to be in the kingdom keeping sin. We dishonor Yahushua when we keep the feast days, but then we're going to keep it in the kingdom. Get one more. Ezekiel 46:1. Man, study to show yourself approved, man. These feast days are serious.
Ezekiel chapter 46, verse 1. Thus said the Lord Yahweh, the gate of the inner court that looketh towards the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be open, and in the day of the new moon it shall be open.
So we can see, it's many more scriptures we can go to show you that we're going to be keeping the Sabbaths, right, in the kingdom. 7-day Sabbath, the new moon, and the rest of the feast, right? We're going to drink the wine new on the feast days with Yahushua, and we're going to feast. So when we do it here, the scripture says, wherever there are 3 or 2, I am in the midst of thee. So when we keeping this feast, brothers, remember, you just not coming here, like I say all the time, for a pastime. This is just not a pastime. Oh, got to go, the brothers, to the feast. The Most High is amongst us. He's celebrating with us. So don't take these feasts lightly. Have fun. Get you a little wine moderately, if that's what you want to do. Play some dominoes, listen to some music, talk some scriptures, hang with your brothers, sisters, make it a fun environment for your sisters. Talk about whatever sisters talk about. This is the time to let loose, relax. You understand? Like, y'all know, it's crazy because we used to go hard for Thanksgiving. How many of y'all was at grandma's house all night? all night. You didn't leave, didn't have nothing to do. You was at grandma's house all night. You didn't go nowhere. You was there. Everybody knew, man. You know where I'm at Thanksgiving. I ain't going nowhere. You was there from 12 o'clock p.m. to 2 in the morning a.m. Am I lying? And sometimes you most of the time spent the night, because I know I was a kid, so I was staying the night.
You too full to leave.
Oh man, you staying the night. All the cousins sleeping in the room
You got all
together.
that stuffing in that turkey, you ain't gonna leave.
Right. Y'all remember all the cousins head to toe, and the other ones was making pilots on the floor. Y'all remember that? Why we can't make the feast of the Lord like that? Why is it a burden when it's time to keep the feast of the Lord? It's a goddamn shame, man. Like, man, now we in righteousness. The Most High said y'all was coming together for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, like what, 3 times, 4 times a year. I gave y'all like 12 feasts.
Well, he gave us 12 new moons.
12 new moons on top. Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
12 new moons.
12 new
and then on
moons.
top of that, he gave us what? He gave us Passover, right? He gave us Pentecost. He gave us trumpets. He gave us Day of Atonement. He gave us tabernacles, dedication, Nicanor, Purim, and he also gave us Simon. He gave us a lot of feasts, man. We got so many opportunities to turn up in the spirit, man, but they get in the truth and want to turn down.
Turn down.
Oh no, you want to turn up in the world, but in the truth, you want to turn down when the Lord said you got permission to turn up.
Right. Backwards, right?
We bugged out, man. Let's get John chapter 7.
Okay.
Let's read verse 1 and 2.
John chapter 7, verse 1. After these things, Yahushua walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. Now the Jews' Feast of Tabernacles was at hand.
Feast of Tabernacles, y'all see that, right? We just went over it. Feast of Tabernacles. Let's see if Christ kept it. Let's drop down to verse 37.
Verse 37. In the last day, John chapter 7, verse 37. In the last day, that great day of the feast, Yahweh.
So we call this the great 8, the last day of Feast of Tabernacles, that 8th day, that great 8th day, right? Read.
Yahushua stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink.
So I sit on that. But you see, Yahushua partook in the Feast of Tabernacles, right? Where are we getting this expression and this notion that we don't got to do it when Christ is doing it and we're supposed to be followers and believers of Yahushua? Right? We got to do everything he did. He did everything, right? Let's keep proving it. John 10 and 22. I'm going to show y'all after Christ died, we still was doing it. Watch.
John chapter 10, verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of dedication, and it was winter.
I think I ain't hear you right.
Nah, you heard it right. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of dedication, and it was winter.
Christ kept it. Read.
Yep. And Yahushua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
Y'all see that, right? Christ was keeping it. It was ordained as a law moving forward, and Christ respected it. Y'all see that, right? Because I got some people saying feast of dedication is not nothing. You know, Judah Maccabees don't have the power to ordain no feast. Well, Christ kept it, so you got to keep it. Period. The hell are you talking about, man? You know what I'm saying? These niggas be coming up with their own doctrines because they wicked as hell, man. They want to be lazy, like my brother. Y'all want to be lazy? Stop being lazy, man. Stick to the script, man. That's all we got. Let's get Acts. Let's run through these. Give me Acts 2 and 1. You know what I want? Acts 2 and 1. That is, give me 1 Corinthians 16 and 8. Calvary, give me Acts 12 and 2. We're gonna run through these. Give me Acts 12 and 2. Give me 1 Corinthians 16 and 8. Roger, read what you got.
Acts chapter 2, verse 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come.
Hold on, they keeping Pentecost? Okay. This is way after Christ was dead. I'm talking about like 30 plus years after Christ was dead. Read.
And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place.
You see that? They was in one accord in one place, keeping the feast of Pentecost. Man, y'all can read the rest of this on y'all free time. Read what you got, Dad. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 16 and 8.
But I would tarry at Ephesians until Pentecost.
Until what?
Until Pentecost.
You see what Paul was saying? I'm going to kick it here at Ephesus until it's time to go back and celebrate Pentecost, because even after Christ died, they still was keeping all the holy feasts, right? Read what you got, Calvin. 12 and 2, yeah.
Acts 12:2, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword.
Herod, wicked self, right? Read.
And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded farther to take Peter also.
He wanted to kill the head apostle, Peter, man. You know what I'm saying? The head apostle, right? Read.
Then were the days of unleavened bread.
What?
Unleavened bread.
No, we don't got to keep unleavened bread because Christ is the feast and Passover. We're good.
Unleavened bread.
You see, we still keeping it several years after Christ is dead, right? Do y'all need more? I think we got enough, right? Y'all see we keeping the Shabbat. Y'all see we keeping all these high holy days several years after Christ, right? Okay, so I want to touch on another point that my brother Rother brought out because they say we in captivity or we not in Jerusalem. I'm going to show you people that was in captivity and not in Jerusalem still keeping the feast, all right? Let's get Nehemiah.
Want me to get Toby?
Yeah, you already know. Get that one in
And
Toby
then
too.
you want somebody to get-
Yeah, get that one in Toby. Give me Nehemiah 8 and 17. And you're gonna get that one in Toby. Yeah, that's the one I like. Yeah, no, that's Toby 1. And we're gonna read 2, and then we're gonna drop down to 6, and then we're gonna read Toby 2 and 1. And we're gonna end it. Nehemiah 8 and 16. Somebody do that. 8 and you can read 16 and 17.
I'll go to Toby. Somebody can get Toby.
Who got it? Nehemiah.
Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 16. So the people went forth and brought them and made themselves boots.
So this is why in the Feast of Tabernacles we're gonna be in boots like tents. You know what I'm saying? This is why we do it, because we rehearse the righteous acts like Roger brought out. Read.
Everyone upon the roof of his house, and in their courts, and in their courts of the house of God, and in the street of the water gate, and in the street of the gate of Ephraim.
Read.
And all the congregation of them were come again out of the captivity.
So we was in captivity. Read.
Made boots.
Made what?
Made boots.
So they still partook in the Feast of Tabernacles. This is what that's going into. We dwell in booths, and this in the spiritual sense is supposed to be us being the tabernacle in which the Heavenly Father dwells His Holy Spirit in. Okay? So this is what's symbolic of that. But nevertheless, right, we was in the Persian and Medes captivity during this time. You know what I'm saying? Now, they was kind of cool. They let us go back to Jerusalem, but nevertheless, we were still in captivity. We wasn't free. Christ was in captivity. They wasn't free. After Christ, they were still in captivity. They wasn't free. We were still doing the feast. All right. Christ and people make excuses, right? We still, we got brothers. I know a couple brothers that still go to Israel and keep the feast. So if you're trying to make that excuse, we can't go to Israel. Some people do. The Lord said you can keep it in all your habitations, though, nevertheless. Go ahead.
What captivity you said we were in right here?
Purchase the meat. Purchase the meat, right? Purchase the meat.
I heard too, people say you're not supposed to go back there.
Yeah, just Jerusalem. We don't have a temple. We don't have a temple. But if you want to go back, you got some brothers, hey, man, ain't no law against that. Ain't no law against it. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said, He told you in the book of John, chapter 4, verse 24, that, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to worship in this mountain. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to worship in this mountain because the Romans is going to destroy this. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to keep the feast in other places. But nevertheless, man, you remember in the law, it said, keep it in all your habitations. Remember? They was in the wilderness. Did did Moses and them keep it in the homeland? No, they didn't. No, Moses and them.
It was in the wilderness.
It was in the wilderness. Yeah, Moses didn't make it to the homeland. Remember, he got the seed, but he didn't make it. You see what I'm saying? So you can keep it wherever you at. The Lord said, no matter where you at, keep it. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you at, keeps the feast. But nevertheless, brothers just like to make excuses and use, you know what I'm saying? Excuses, basically like the scriptures say. Let's get that, man. Let's get that, and then we're gonna end it with Roger. I'm gonna get this one real quick. Okay. Man just want to use excuses, man. A sinful man will figure out a way. Sirach 32, verse 17. Give me that one. Cover whoever got it first. Sirach 32, 17. You know what I'm saying? It's his excuses, man, to be wicked.
Sirach chapter 32, verse 17. A sinful man will not be reproved.
You cannot correct him. He's going to always have an excuse. Read.
But find it an excuse according to his will.
It's according to God's will.
According to his will.
And we know man is a liar, right? Let God be the truth, but what? Every man a liar. So it's just man, you know, man just being man. That's what it is. Go ahead and get that one, Roger. We're going to end it with this one. Watch this. Now, give me Tobit 1 and 2, and then drop down to verse 6.
Tobit chapter 1, verse 2. When the time of Emanazar, king of the Assyrians, was led captive out of Thespi.
He was led captive, right? He was led captive out of his homeland. Thespi is like a little city in Galilee, Naphtali, right? Read.
Which is at the right hand of that city, which is called properly Naphtali in Galilee above Asher.
See that? Right above Asher. Read.
I'm going to drop down
Yeah,
to
drop down to verse 6.
verse 6. But I alone went often to Jerusalem at the feast.
I still went to the feast. I'm in captivity, but I'm still keeping the feast. Tobit said it. Even though I got snatched out of my homeland from Galilee, right, and Naphtali, and I got took into the Assyrian. I'm in Nineveh and all that. I still go back to keep the feast. So y'all have no excuses, right? Drop down chapter 2, verse 1. Watch this.
Chapter 2, verse 1. Now, when I was come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me with my son Tobias in the feast of Pentecost.
What?
The feast of Pentecost.
He's keeping the feast of Pentecost. He went back home when he left Jerusalem and came back home and kept the feast of Pentecost. But his family, read.
Which is the holy feast of the 7 weeks.
Feast of weeks, we call that, read.
There was a good dinner prepared me.
My rib, she hooked me up. You know what I'm saying? Because we can eat on that day. Y'all see that? That's another precept to let y'all know y'all can eat on these other Sabbaths, right? But nevertheless, that's it on that. I just wanted to show y'all, right? We got the weekly Sabbath, right? And it's never going to change, man. The weekly cycle is always going to be the same. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day, 7. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day, 7. Right? Then we got the new moon, which we celebrate tonight, right? Then we had Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, first and last day. Pentecost, that's a Sabbath. Trumpets, that's a Sabbath. Day of Atonement, that's a Sabbath, right? Tabernacles, first and the 8th day, that's a Sabbath. Feast of Dedication, first and the 8th day, that's a Sabbath. Those are all the Holy Shabbat we went through them. Anybody got questions?
So it's gonna be until Saturday sundown. Tonight is going to
tomorrow.
yeah.
Sundown.
Then
To tomorrow,
Friday.
sundown. We still got we good.
Regular Sabbath, right?
From tomorrow sundown it ends.
Wednesday to Thursday sundown. So Thursday sundown, you're good until Friday sundown, and that's when you got the Shabbat. So you guys still got a day in between. Any questions? Any other questions? Come on, let's turn up. One praise the Most High, man.
Shalom, family. Y'all enjoy y'all Sabbath. Make sure y'all feast for the Lord.